The fear of failure is something we all have faced, right? Like it's that voice in the back of your head that says, what if this doesn't work? What if I'm embarrassed? What if I'm not good enough? Hi, I'm Margaret. I'm a mindset coach and an Unstuck specialist. And today we're going to dive in and talk about the fear of failure. The fear of failure is our greatest roadblock to success. So let's break it down, talk about why it holds us back, and how we can move past it. So stick around, reframe with me, and let's move forward together. So for years, I was terrified of failing. Whether it was at school, in sports, in relationships, at work, it just went on and on. And what happened is that because I was so afraid of what if it doesn't work out, that I missed out on opportunities. I was convinced that if I failed, it meant I wasn't good enough. And so this played out very heavy for me with sports, because in my household as a kid, you had to be number one. And if you weren't number one, don't come home. And if you couldn't get back to number one in a very short span of time, should you drop to 2 or 3, then you need to drop what you're doing, because it was meaning you weren't good enough. The thing is this was all just a lie. And so I loved playing tennis. And when I was a kid, I was really good at tennis. But then I moved to a bigger pool. I went from my little pond where I was a big fish to an ocean where I was just this minnow lost with kids who were nationally ranked. And because I was so afraid that I couldn't be number one, I knew I couldn't be number one, but I couldn't just even be number one in my school because one of the people in my school was ranked 3 in the nation. I quit. I stopped playing tennis altogether. I shifted to a sport that I knew I could be number one at, and then I could call home and say, I'm number one. Because for my parents, if I wasn't number one, then I didn't have worth. And so I was so afraid of facing that I just quit. And so I could call home and say that the sport I had chosen, I was number one in, and isn't it great? But I was totally unfulfilled. It wasn't what my heart wanted to be doing. And every time I saw my friend who was number 3 go leave for the tennis courts, I was so envious because I wanted to be playing tennis. The reality was I kept myself living in a cage. My brain was so wired for keeping me safe, protecting my worth, making sure that there was no threat to my reputation with my parents, and keeping my identity intact that I was number one, that I just missed out on so much. By avoiding failing, I stayed stuck. I was in this comfort zone that was just empty. And again, I could say I was number one, but it wasn't even what I wanted to be doing. And the truth is, how many of you have been like me, where you made shifts to safe places so that you didn't have to face the reality of growth, or that you might not be the best because you just started in your journey? The thing is that failing is absolutely inevitable. If we don't challenge ourselves, that we're never going to grow. We're never going to be great because we're always going to be sitting stuck and comfortable. So it's time for us to find the courage to be brave, because failing means that we're learning. It just means we are new and we need to practice more, or we need to experience it more. But it isn't a value check on how good we are. Second of all, failing gives us feedback. It's one of those things that says this works, this doesn't work. Think about it. Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb, which we all greatly enjoy today, it didn't work on his first try. He tried over 1,000 times to get a light bulb that worked. What if he had stopped after the first failure? Would we be all sitting in the dark? But the thing is how many times do we do that? We keep ourselves and our lives sitting in the dark because we think that our failures are a sign that we're not good enough. So let's start moving forward. Let's shift and reframe how our brain sees things. First of all, change your perspective. Failing isn't a negative thing. Failing is about progression. It's just part of the process. Second of all, set small, manageable goals. Baby steps, right? Like the movie years ago, Taking Baby Steps. Because the thing is each one of those baby steps is going to build on another, and it's going to be a great big thing. But you have to start taking that first baby step to build the confidence to take the next step and the next step. Third, start celebrating your failures. Yeah, I said that. Celebrate your failures. We're great at celebrating our wins, but we probably aren't very good at celebrating our failures. And the reality is that we had the courage to step into the unknown, to be brave enough to face that fear of what if it doesn't work. Celebrate that you had that fear. Be grateful that you could find that courage inside yourself to do it. Because remember, the only one true failure is not trying at all. This week, I want you to try and challenge yourself. Find one thing that you've been hesitant to do. Just one little thing. Maybe it's trying something different at a restaurant. Maybe it's going out and taking that lesson that you wanted to take. Maybe it's risking making a total fool of yourself by going to hot yoga and collapsing in the middle of it. Whatever it is, take that challenge this week. Take that baby step and move forward. And remember, you're growing. You're being courageous. And you're not failing. You're amazing because of that courage. Now, if you like this video and you found it helpful, please hit the subscribe button. And if you want more tips, keep following me so that we can work together on becoming resilient to failings of failure and that we can grow stronger in our worth. And if you're looking for some more guidance at a deeper level, check out my coaching links and let's break free from failure together.